Well, I'm so happy to have read this. Um, the topic here is morality in decline, and the author, it's O tempora, o mores, famous simple line of Cicero, a Roman orator. O the times, O the behavior of people today. It's not the same as it was in der guten alten Zeit, as the Germans used to say. In the good old days of Hitler, things wouldn't have happened like this. Things like this don't happen in North Korea. Go to North Korea. Sorry. Whenever people talk about morality, the focus is sex. And really the list of things here that are cited as morality in decline, really I consider kind of trivial. If morality is centered on sex, that morality is trivial. That morality, it wants to focus on something simple and obvious, and is probably avoiding really serious moral issues. Cloning is a serious moral issue. Freak dancing, as they say, young people touching each other's bodies clothed on the dance floor, is not a serious moral issue, friends. And graffiti on walls and even scratching cars or vandalism. Notice what we have here. We have the two obsessions of the bourgeoisie: sex and material possessions. The bourgeoisie does not like to think beyond these things, at least too often. To focus on these is to focus on what is obvious, what is simple, what is, in the end, not very important. Sorry, not very important, in my opinion. My opinion, always, of course. And so that woe is me, people just aren't the way they used to be, girls used to be virgins when they got married, kids used to chew gum, and that was considered a terrible offense, and now they what? They chew gum, they gyrate with each other on the dance floor. Not a big deal, in my opinion. And I'm only surprised that God did not find his way into this article. And that doesn't mean God. That means this author using God for his own conservative, superficial, middle-class values. Let's talk about serious things. Serious things are homelessness. Serious things are terrible things that people do to each other, criminal or other terrible things. Now, I want to focus on one thing here, which seems to me to tell more than it gets to below the surface a little bit. South Korea now, this is 3 years old, has an all-sex cable channel. I didn't know this. Dr. Shin even didn't know this. Now, if an author uses this as an example of the terrible moral decline, I think this illustrates my point perfectly. If one decries this kind of thing, then probably one does not favor democracy. We have to ask ourselves, what do we mean by democracy? If we really mean personal, individual freedom, freedom of self-expression, as long as it doesn't hurt other people, then I think one has to accept the good with the bad. And I think in the end, the American belief is, although many Americans, an American wrote this, I assume, or a Korean, maybe a Korean whose English is excellent, but one has to face what democracy really is. And your lawmakers, I congratulate your lawmakers, because Korea has evolved, once again, in my time here, 12 and a half years almost. It's incredible, the rate of change that has occurred in this country during these last 12 years. It is absolutely incredible. And this, the all-sex cable channel is a perfect example. Now, I credit your lawmakers with allowing that, because your lawmakers are facing democracy and the consequences of democracy with seriousness and sobriety. And I'm surprised that they have let this happen. because this means a serious look at democracy. But obviously this is legal, and so I congratulate Korea. It's scary. Democracy is scary. Pornography and the rest of these things all come with it as part of the package. But I think we have to try to get a bigger look at what democracy really brings, good and bad, and the good far outweighs the bad, in my opinion. And I think in most people's opinion, and clearly in your lawmakers' opinions. And that's, I congratulate them. And I think we have to try to attach a little less value to what appear to be sexual, obsessive sex, and look at other things and try to do good where we can. Your author also implies, does not really say, that behind all this is, okay, who's producing these sexual movies and sexual, the cable channel and all of that? Businessmen. Why are they producing these? Because the public wants them. Who's at fault then? The media? No. The media truly give us what we want. Then we have to be prepared to condemn each other for our own interest in sex and violence, because we're at fault. This is the least impressive article of all these articles that I've read in this book, but at least it raises the questions. The ultimate question raised here is, what is democracy? And is it something we want? And I think the answer everybody agrees with is yes. If you want censorship, then you back away from democracy. Censorship is the alternative. President Pak, whom some of you pretend to like so much, I think, is the alternative. That is, President Pak would never let this stuff go on. On the other hand, President Pak put hundreds of people in prisons who disappeared. Do you want democracy? Do we want democracy or not? I'll take democracy. Thank you.